right, well, greetings, everybody. Welcome once again to the RecPoker podcast, sponsored, as always, by Running Aces Casino, Racetrack, and Hotel, and website AMP, and the great Mark Prashon. In this chat edition of the podcast, we're going to speak to the one and only Matt Savage. 300 plus episodes. We're finally excited. We got Matt on the show. He's the executive tournament director for the World Poker Tour, among other things. And so we'll get to know him a little bit. But let's first introduce the panel. My name is Steve Fredland. I go by RecPoker Steve in our Poker Stars home game. And I've got a quote from David Daniel. He said, "Poker is a fascinating, wonderful, intricate adventure on the high seas of human nature."
I love it.
And I'm Jim Reed, Blusterini in the home game. And you can find out about me and the rest of the wrecking crew here by going to rec.poker/crew. And I'm just here to say that getting your chips in the middle is never absolutely the wrong thing to do.
Okay, Blusterini.
And I'm John Somsky, known as Poker Geek MN everywhere. And I went with the non-poker quote today from Jeremy Goldberg. "Courage is knowing it might hurt and doing it anyway. Stupidity is the same, and that's why life is hard."
I love it, Sean. All right, so after the conversation, we're going to wrap up with the community happenings, what's going on in RecPoker. Just to tease a couple of things, we're going to have the September 25th Club WPT event, rec.poker/WPT. We're going to be taking a road trip to Wisconsin for those of you who are in Minnesota. So we'll have details on that. Super excited. We'll also talk about the winners of the online home games. We'll talk about the new RecPoker staking package, all kinds of stuff. Reminder, if you are a premium member, you're in the chat, set your settings to anyone so that you can type your question, type your comments, and we'll get it on air as well. So with that, let's bring him in. Matt Savage, welcome to the RecPoker podcast.
Hey, great to be here, guys.
Yeah, finally.
I've been reading a little bit about you guys here and there. I really haven't seen as much as I thought I might see, but yeah, I think Chad posts a lot of stuff about you guys.
Oh, so. Yeah,
Chad McBean.
Yes.
Yeah, he is fantastic. Yeah, we consider ourselves the best kept secret in the poker industry, and part of that honestly is intentional because we're a very positive, encouraging, vibrant poker learning community, and so we're not for everybody. Honestly, if you're one of these folks that you like to play recreational, you love the game, and you want to hang out with good, positive people, like we're your people. But as you maybe know, a lot of poker players don't necessarily want to be in a positive, encouraging, vibrant community.
That's true. And I see a lot of that when I'm on Club WPT. It's more of a community than just basically anything that is out there that you might see with the other podcasts that are out there.
Yeah, and I think that's why we vibe really well with you guys. We've spoken to some of your folks at the WPT there, and we think, man, this seems like a good partnership because I think we have the same thing in mind. Where let's make poker fun, competitive, play for some cool prizes and cash. But at the end of the day, it's just a fun thing to do. Right,
and that's my big goal is always trying to make poker fun. And we found a way. We have I Twitch stream every week for Club WPT on Sundays. Yeah. If somebody comes in there and starts trolling the chat, instantly there's 5 or 6 people on top of them right away. Then get out of here. We don't need you. So if that's what you guys are doing, I'm all for it.
We do the same thing. We have an online home game. We play at least one tournament a night for whoever wants to join. It's just for free. It's just for fun. Well, we play for these pins. These guys are showing off their fancy pins that they've won, but we're the same thing. We have a zero tolerance policy. Like if you say anything negative, it's just, you're suspended for 6 months. Like that's just kind of how it is because that's just, hey, we're playing for fun. Like if you want to berate somebody for their play, if you want to challenge it and kind of ask questions and figure out, hey, what did you do there? Why were you thinking that? That's perfect. Right. But any sort of berating, anything that we consider anti-community, you're just gone. It's not complicated. So
I love it.
Love it. Well, there's a few things I was thinking about. What do we talk to Matt Savage about? Like there's so many things we could talk to you about. I was thinking, what does the RecPoker Nation need to know about? I mean, there's so much good stuff out there already about your background. Like we could spend hours talking about your background, but I know you just were interviewed by Robbie Straczynski on Cards Chat. And so I want to encourage people, you want to know Matt's background a little bit, how he went from, chip runner to dealing tournament director and all the history of the WPT. It's already been said, already been done. Let's not waste Matt's time. Go listen to that episode of the Cards Chat with Robbie. But I've got a few things I want to talk about. One, because our audience is recreational players primarily, and it's people that are playing home games, bar leagues, lower stakes at the casinos, all the way up to bigger stuff as well. But one thing I want to talk to you about is the TDA. Okay. So, you were one of the co-founders of the TDA, this whole idea of this, it's a tournament directors association. And maybe just clarify a little bit for some people out there. It's rules and regulations, and the idea is to try to make things more consistent across tournaments. But I think there's always this lingering question of where does the TDA fit in? Where do the house rules fit in? Like maybe just share a little bit about what's it supposed to be like, and how does that work?
The idea was, when I was playing tournaments back in the early 2000s, that in late 1990s, rules were different everywhere I went. So I really thought that we needed some kind of standardized rules. We always had Robert's rules of poker for the live games, but there was never really anything for tournament poker. And so the idea was to come in and try and get all the tournament directors and the card room managers and the players, media, and everybody on board with doing the same thing. And the way it kind of came about is I went into the World Series of Poker for the first time ever myself in 2001, and went to the tournament director and say, hey, can we put this together? And they basically said, you know what? It's been tried before. It's never going to work. Well, I was a little more persistent, and luckily I knew Linda Johnson and Jan Fisher, who had a World Poker Industry Conference, which a lot of people don't even know about, in the early 2000s. And so they said, hey, Matt, we like this idea. So why don't we put it on the back end of what we're doing with the World Poker Industry Conference? And out of that, it was just 25 tournament directors from around the country. And since then, it's just grown into this big thing where we have players and tournament directors, card room managers from around the world that come in every couple of years. We're not going to do it this year because of the situation that's going on. But it's the thing is that we care more about consistency than anything else. There's been some rules and things that have come up over the years that not everybody's in agreement with. But if we can push that final 10% or 20% over the line to do the same thing, we feel like it's better for the players when they go from house to house and property to property to know the rules and to have the same rules everywhere they go. And so that was kind of the goal of the TDA. And I think we've achieved that. We are used in pretty much every major tournament around the world and every small card room in the world too, as far as I know, pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, and I love the idea, but I know there are certain house rules. So does each venue have the ability to say we're going to use TDA or not, or to say, we're going to override that rule with our own rule? Like how much, and I know it's kind of volunteer, but do they have full latitude to change up from what the TDA suggests?
Well, if they're going to be using TDA rules, we require that they use, the majority or almost all of the rules. And what usually happens in those cases is if they start using a rule that's different than what we use at the TDA, that's kind of standard, then the players will say, well, you're not really using TDA rules. And it kind of pushes them to change the way they're doing it also. There's been a few things that have come over time. Kevin Quintanilla down at Hollywood or Hawaiian Gardens really likes the fact that they use the last card off the deck or the first card off the deck. And we had changed that back from first card to last card off the deck and then back again. He went with the first card off the deck. So those are little carve out things. A lot of people that were in that room when we had this argument with Daniel Negreanu weren't on board with what he was saying, that it wasn't good for the game. They all felt, a lot of people felt it was still good for the game. And because of that, we allowed him to keep that, yet still use TDA rules.
And I love it. Feels like it's very freeing for a lot of the tournament directors too. Like a lot of the tournaments I play are that $200 and under, and the tournament director can just say, well, it's a TDA rule. Like one of the latest rules is sort of like if somebody just says 4, right. Now instead of it being just totally discretion, it's well, let's look at the size of the pot to determine if it's 400 or 4,000. The blinds and the size of the pot. And it feels like from a tournament director's perspective, that'd be very freeing to just say it's a TDA rule.
Right. And we do that a lot. A lot of people say that. And it's been funny. In my career, I've been going, all over and I've seen different things and run these events. And I might come in and run like a tournament for a place that I've never been to before. And somebody will challenge a rule. And then I'll go to the table and make that ruling. And they'll say, well, how do you know? It says a TDA rule. This is what we, let me see the rules. How do you know that's the rule? I said, well, because I wrote it. That's
yep, exactly. Well, it turns out.
So yeah, that's happened a few times in my career, but it's been fun to do. And everybody at the table, like 8 people look at me like, what are you going to say? What's going to happen here? They're challenging you on the rule that we know that you wrote. And so it's funny, but yeah. I always make it good, I don't really try to intimidate anybody or put anybody down, but we just have a little fun with it at the time.
Yeah, it feels like one of those jobs being a tournament director. It feels like you're a basketball referee. Like or football referee. Just feel like you just get yelled. I mean, nobody's really ever saying, "Hey, you did an amazing job." Hopefully they do, but it feels like it's mostly just you're unnoticed unless somebody's got an issue, and then you just kind of get yelled at. Like, I mean, how do you sort of navigate that, or how do you know? One of the things we talk about on the show quite a bit is there's a lot of people that kind of want to get into the industry, whether it's in media or in different ranks. So somebody's maybe thinking, I kind of want to become a tournament director. Like maybe I've started dealing. What sort of personality? What sort of characteristics make somebody who'd be a good tournament director?
Well, I always say the first thing you need is patience. And a lot of times you might be viewed as kind of like a babysitter sometimes, and it's been my way of doing things is to basically, befriend the players. I play poker too. So if I'm playing poker, I know what it's like to be on the other side of the table. I know what it's like to take a bad beat or have a dealer make a mistake. And so I can kind of feel my way through the ruling. And when I come to the table, I know who's upset with the rule, who's not, who's upset with what's going on at the table. And I can kind of diffuse that. I think the most important thing for me is to listen to the room, listen to the players, kind of feel their pain when you're making those decisions that are tough that may cost them, $1 million at some point. And, if you do that and you give them the respect, they give you the respect. So I really say I've been fortunate in my career to have the respect of the players. And when you go to the table and make a rule, even if it's something they don't understand or know, they say, well, Matt made that rule, so it must be right. We're not going to argue about it. And then at that point, what a lot of floor people don't do is they don't walk away from the table. You need to walk away from the table, not give the person the chance to say, hey, that's not right, or this is, or this or that. You kind of make your ruling, stick with it, be confident in it, and then just walk away from the table. And then everybody keeps going. Yep.
That's good advice. Hey, John, I know you've got something. There's a couple of things in the chat. I see that Kim Kilroy has put the PokerTDA.com link for those of you who are interested in kind of checking that out for sure. And I see Troy Chapman, one of our Australian friends, he says, so Matt, if you're playing an MTT and still don't agree with the ruling, what's the best way to take it up with the TD? He says, I assume kicking the bins over is not a solution.
No, kicking the bins is not a solution, and I've seen it happen many times in my career. But yeah, that's not the solution. That'll usually end you up on a penalty. But I think you always have the right to go to the highest authority in the room. And generally, when I'm running an event or when I'm running a tournament, I'm on the floor. So I don't really have that kind of situation. I know if there's a big, kerfuffle going on somewhere at one of the tables, I'm there, right? But a lot of times, you might go to a tournament where the tournament director's not in the room or not at, in the area, walking around the area. So in that situation, you have the right to ask the floor, are you sure that's correct? If it's not correct, can I see the rule? Can I talk to the tournament director, or can I talk to the card room manager, the highest authority in the room? And if you, at that point, don't get the, satisfaction, then, you're kind of out of luck because there's nowhere else to go. And that's usually when I get a text message, hey, they ruled like this over here. Did they do it right? And I will say, well, are they using TDA rules? They say yes. And I tell them, yeah, that's right. Or, no, it's, it should probably be done this way. And a lot of times I've been able to just contact somebody at the room directly and say, hey, they got this ruling over there. I understand that you made it this way. Maybe there's more story to it, but if you're going by the TDA rules, that's not exactly how it should be done.
Yeah, because I see you get tagged on Twitter things, and sometimes there's just not enough information there. So it's like you're doing the best you can, but it's much different if you're in the room when you experience the situation. John, did you have something?
Well, I was just gonna ask a sort of personal question. I was wondering when you actually find the time to sleep, because so a few years ago there was a horse tournament at Running Aces, and we were involved in the stud portion of horse, and there were players that were all in, and the question came up, do you deal 7th Street up or down? Because in Hold'em, all cards are face up at that point in time, and in stud, typically the 7th Street is dealt down. So, I fired off a tweet to you, and then within 10 minutes had a response to that tweet, and this is not an uncommon occurrence. Right. So do you sleep?
My wife will say no. I have done a lot less on Twitter lately because there's not a lot of big tournaments going on. There's a lot of things that got canceled. But I enjoy that. I enjoy the interaction. I enjoy helping people, especially new players, amateur players, recreational players, more than anything. A lot of the messages that I get are from people that might be at a private game or something like that, and they have a big bet on the ruling and the outcome of the rule. So they'll text me on that. I always say if I would just collected 10% on all those things, I'd be doing a lot better. But yeah, it's something that gives me pleasure. That if I'm helping somebody to understand a rule better or giving somebody more insight into why the rule was made, it makes me feel better. It always doesn't make my wife feel better when I'm up in the middle of the night and answering things for things that are happening in Europe or, around the world. But at the same time, I think that, everybody deserves the right to have the correct answers. And if they feel like that I'm going to give it to them, I'm happy to provide that answer for them.
Yeah, what a contribution to the poker industry, man. Thanks for all that, because that's huge. Hopefully people appreciate it. I think sometimes people don't want to know the right answer because they want to stand their ground on the wrong answer. But I think what a gift to be able to bring that consistency to the poker industry. I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about the World Poker Tour. Obviously, something that you're very heavily involved in, and RecPoker is getting involved more and more with you guys as we sort of partner on a couple of different things. One of the things I'm curious about, for recreational players, we see the World Poker Tour, we see the televised version of it. I know you've been instrumental in growing all of that game, and so many of us are like, man, it'd be so fun to play a WPT event. Like, we're still in that place where most of us are just like, the dream is to play like a big WPT event, like super cool. I'd like to kind of pick your brain on what is that experience actually like? Because it's we just see the televised half-hour clips version. We don't see the whole festival. It's days or weeks of all of these different tournaments. What's it like to actually travel and go play like a WPT event or series of events? What's the experience like?
Well, I think it's awesome, especially if you make the end of day one. You got to make it through the day for you to get the full experience of bagging chips and all of that. But I do think that, when you walk into the room, if you're not, you just got to go in with confidence. If you don't go in there, you're not intimidated. We try, and one of my big pushes is to try and get the everyday player into our events. Mm-hmm. And so I really stress when we do these events that we have a good satellite system where people can win their way in for a little bit of money. And of course, if somebody has any question or anything about the rules or about the structure or anything like that, we have a lot of people that are great in place, that are tournament directors at those properties that will answer those questions for you. So nobody ever needs to feel intimidated. But I feel like if you go there and, for years we had, Mike Sexton doing the shuffle up and deal, mm-hmm. and I would be there, and Tony Dunce now and Vince Van Patten are there, Lynn Gilmartin, and we're really, revamping this and running this up. And we've had record numbers because of that. And I think a lot of that, just the feeling of being there with the people that are on television all the time is a great experience. And I think that, you're going to see more and more of that on the World Poker Tour when we come out the other side of this situation we're going through right now. But, I think we really try and make it special. I always say that the World Poker Tour, to me, is the player-friendly tour. It's not like a poker factory. It's not like, you're going to go in there where nobody's going to get known. And if you go to the people that are running the events and say, hey, live updates, I've got some people back home, or I got a group of people or friends, or I won this way in through, ClubWPT or through my home game or whatever, we're going to feature you in the live updates. And, we'll give you a little bit of a push so you can really feel the experience that other people are having. I really hate that a lot of times the media just focuses on the big names. I really want to see those stories get put out. And, when I was working at the World Series back in the early 2000s, there was a production group called 441 Production. Mm-hmm. And they did a lot more, I think, story-based on the player. And I think that we got into doing that more and more of that with World Poker Tour as well. And I really think that that's the way to go. Because, everybody's got a story. And not everybody's a professional poker player, but we want to promote those that are coming out for the first time and playing those events. And hopefully they have a great time, do well, make final table, and win the tournament.
And that's great for the pros, right? If we can build that base up, build the prize pools, build all of that stuff up. And so, I love when you guys feature, here's a ClubWPT, person that qualified and they got in. And, that's one of the reasons we were excited to work with you guys because, a little self-promotion, but we have an event coming up on September 25th. It's the RecPoker tournament on ClubWPT. it's free to play, right? It's free to play. You become a member of Club WPT, you log in there, you play the thing, and the winner is going to get a $2,500 seat into the Thunder Valley event that you guys have coming up in December. Like, it's huge. Like, people, go do this. And I know, a number of us are in Minnesota, and so we can't do it in Minnesota, but we got a road trip. We're going to all go to Wisconsin, and we're going to play Club WPT there. Like, it's super fun. And so, share a little bit about that. Like, just some of the stories that, like you said, of everyday Joe, or if you have any examples of somebody that went through Club WPT, to kind of give people, the sense that, hey, go through Club WPT, win this thing, become a member, and then play in this big tournament. Like, are there examples of people actually going deep that have qualified in that way?
Definitely. We've had one winner that came off of Club WPT.
Yeah.
His name was LaRon Washington early on. And, but we've had a lot of people make the money, go deep in these events, but we are always going to feature those people. And like I said, Club WPT has really given us a real opportunity to get some of those people, to come out of places that we, don't really see poker players come out of too often. I know you guys are in Minnesota. You can't play up there, which is unfortunate, but, are you guys playing in Canterbury or wherever you're playing?
Well, Canterbury Running Aces. Yeah, Jim's up in Canada, so he's good to go. And we've got, let's see, who else we got? We got Australia, we got Canada, we got,
you can play in
we got
Australia.
Maine, we got all kinds of people here. It's me and John that are sitting here going, this stinks. We're going to Wisconsin.
Yeah. The pressure really gets to people that are there for the first time, though. You see them, they come in the room, they're kind of bright-eyed around and what's going on, but we make an effort to just lead those people. And I'll be up at Thunder Valley for the WPTDeepStacks Championship. So when your player's up there, I can't wait, to meet whoever that is. Hopefully it's one of you. And, we'll make it a great experience for you. And, it's one of those things where Ben Irwin and his team at Thunder Valley do such a great job with that. And, it'll be a great time.
Well, we're hoping to make a little road trip out of it anyway. So hopefully our winner comes out of there, but also we're going to do a little road trip and get a few people, rally the troops to go play up there. I want to go play in my first WPT. That's my goal up there as well. Win or lose on the 25th. And you're playing on the 25th. You're going to be a bounty on the 25th. You're going to do some Twitch streaming too. So it's a chance for people. That's the cool thing about Club WPT, right? Is that they might be playing with you and Tony Dunst and Lynn Gilmartin and some of these other folks.
Yep, we're excited about it. I think it's going to be, an interesting thing, insight into what we do basically every week when we play with those guys. Like I said, we have a Club WPT stream team, and we stream, talk to those people, and they've really become friends. It's become a community and friends that you never thought you would have known or met before. And like I said, we stick together. We're going to have a stream team barbecue when we can at some point, an upcoming stop, and it's going to be, I really have made literally what I consider lifelong friends out of playing, for this subscription poker at Club WPT. So I'm excited about that.
Love it. Jim?
Yeah, that's actually kind of what we were talking about, because we're a community at RecPoker too, and I can sort of feel that warmth in the Club WPT group. So I wanted to ask, I've been splashing around in the tournaments there. You guys have there's a tournament every 10 minutes. There's all these different kinds of tournaments with tournament points, and you can win prizes. Can you talk a little bit about I want to get the most out of the time that I spend in there. What are the really great prizes, and what are the tournaments that I can play in them if I go to rec.poker/WPT and sign up for this awesome place?
Well, we have big prize pools pretty much every weekend, 5,000, 10,000. If you sign up for the Diamond membership, there's more $10,000 events. You can win seat qualifiers, which I'm always excited about because those are the people that come out and play our events. And we're going to continue that, as we're going into new ownership with the World Poker Tour. So we're excited about that. But I think more or less than anything, it's the experience you're getting from that online. The play has really improved.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, when you had the Zyngas and Club WPT early on, it was basically just everybody was playing, play chips, and there wasn't really a lot of strategy or skill. When you sign up now at our Diamond membership, you get to go to learn WPT, and you get to see all of the videos from our trainers, Tony Dunst and Lucky Chewy and others that are, have really made these players really good. So it's gotten a lot tougher. I've won a couple of my easy anymore. Last couple weekends, I've had a rough go of it.
Well, you can see it's a fun place. You can see that people are there to have a good time. The software, it's good for people to want to play one table and engage with the chat and that kind of thing. And I like that there's a variety of different ways to play. And one of the things, it's a very cool system. So you subscribe for the month, and then you can play as many tournaments as you want, really. And then there's these other ones you can enter with your tournament buy-in. So if people are trying to dip a toe into playing online, it's a nice way to kind of cap what you can lose in a month at first, but also open up the possibility to win all these great prizes. So I can see it being a fun place to be.
Yeah, for sure. And like Mike Sexton used to say, never lose a dime playing poker.
Right.
Yeah.
You sound just like it. That's fantastic. But that sticks with you. Like, how is that possible? Well, you pay the membership thing, and then you don't have to worry about losing more. So it's good stuff. So we're super excited about partnering with Club WPT. We're excited about Thunder Valley. I'm kind of curious. I know, man, the time just flies by. So there's another major tour that you might have heard of that has made a recent ruling that they're going to require vaccinations to play in their series. I'm not going to you're not making decisions for them, but I'm kind of curious, like, how do you navigate some of this stuff? And I don't know exactly your role in making some of the decisions about which WPTs are canceled, if that's venue specific or what. But like, how are you just generally kind of navigating this whole COVID thing? Like, do you have any like major like sort of kind of pinning down the corners of the sheet where you're saying these are our things that we're standing on? Like, because it's a nightmare, right? It's a nightmare for everybody. But how are you what's your paradigm kind of going through navigating this?
Well, we've had, just some, it's just been an amazing, tough time for a lot of people. So we understand that on the World Poker Tour, and we, are trying to do things. We had 3 final tables that got delayed over a year. So it turned out to be the longest poker tournament in history. A couple of those. But we had to navigate all of that. The gaming requirements for mask, no mask, plexiglass, all of those things. And of course, we're filming a television show on some of this shit. So it was a tough decisions that we had to make, pushing it back, communicating with the players, understanding their plight, that maybe they need that money and they're, going forward. It was a tough, really tough thing. Luckily, we had the 18 people that were waiting for those 3 final tables. We're pretty understanding about that. Some of them even said, we don't even want to come back now. We'll push it back even later. But we ended up getting those final tables done. And then as we started to come out of it, and that first, kind of big wave was over, we were fortunate enough to have great partners like Choctaw in Oklahoma. And then we have Seminole Hard Rock in Hollywood, Florida, Tampa. So I did go to some of those events. I was there and, at first they were using plexiglass and they had sanitizing and all of that going on, mask requirements, and literally breaking records, because so many people were just dying to get out there and play poker.
Pent up demand.
We never really had any issues. It was actually run really well. They do such a good job with running it, and their staff there is amazing, and dealers are also amazing. It's one of those things that's really tough to navigate. And, one of the issues that we're having now is getting people to come back to work, to deal and do those things. So, I think that one of the reasons why, the other thing we're talking about, WSOP, maybe made that mandate, not only because it makes the decision so much easier, right? When they have a ruling to come down, maybe somebody comes down with it, but also I think it will reduce the field. And I think that in the end, I think they're going to be struggling to get enough dealers to cover that behemoth of a tournament. And if they have smaller numbers, I think it makes it easier for them. It's more flexible. I don't think they'd ever come out and say that that's a reason why they made this decision, but it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. And I don't blame them for making that decision because, when they first came out with the first mandate, there was a lot of confusion. A lot of people didn't understand what would happen. There was the thought that you could, make a final table and then somebody could walk up to you and say, sir, come with me out of the tournament.
You've been exposed. Yep.
Been exposed. Very tough. It's very tough. I applaud. They have such a great, massive festival that they're putting together. So I think it's very tough for them. I know they want to get it done and get it back live again because they've been doing a lot of online stuff, and so have we. We've been fortunate with great partners with 888 and Party Poker, Club WPT, and all the things we've done online. And I really think it's created a brand new group of people that maybe didn't play poker before. So I'm excited and looking forward to the future of poker when we come out of this and seeing a lot of new faces that I haven't seen before.
Well said. You should have like a high ranking position in the poker industry. I mean, you're so articulate with this stuff, and very, you're very unbiased and very well said. Hey, if there's any premium members, have you any questions or comments, put those in the chat. I've got one more question I know for Matt, and then Jim and John, if you have something else, you can chime in there. But shifting gears a little bit more, but just with as close as you are to the industry, and maybe this impacts smaller buy-in tournaments more than the bigger buy-in tournaments. I'm not sure, honestly, but we're at a place right now where as we talk to different poker venues, tournament poker, it's tough to pull off. It's tough to financially justify tournament poker with that floor space when they could be doing slots or cash or craps or anything else, because the business model is just so hard. And so, trying to explain that to tournament poker players, people don't get it. I mean, I'm a business coach, so I understand finances, but there's only so many levers you can push, right? Like tournament players want, 8-handed, longer levels, more starting chips, all of the, they want everything, right? And obviously, and less rake, right? And obviously you can't do that. I'm kind of curious, like where you think that's going. Do you think, is lower buy-in tournament poker sustainable in casinos? Do you feel like where's it going to tip? Do you think it's going to tip in the rake? It's going to tip in, everything's going to be higher buy-in. Where do you think this is going to go from a business perspective?
Yeah. It's unfortunate that, a lot of times now, I don't know if you guys know who Rob Young is, but he's with Party Poker, but he's really trying to push this thing for have a union of poker players, which is something that's been talked about for a long time. And I'm always, generally on the side of the poker players, but it's a tough one because even as we come out of this, there's not a lot of conventions like here in Las Vegas. So every single room that's being booked now is being booked by gamblers, right? Mm-hmm. They're not necessarily the convention guys that's coming that may not play at all or anything. So poker, again, is getting in that position where we're kind of getting pushed to the side again. And the financials make sense. You'd rather have a high limit slot room than a poker room for these things. But there's a lot of people that are on our side of the business that are pushing back and saying, look, we know that we bring people into these casinos. Right. We make a difference. We make a difference to your bottom line. So it's a delicate balance. And, it's tough because if we don't have these big poker tournaments, and a lot of places I know that are now open up, don't even run tournaments yet. They're just running cash games because they're so full and they don't need tournaments. And a lot of people don't realize that poker tournaments were built to bring people in for cash games. And with all the reentry and all the other stuff that's come up over the years, that's kind of hurt the cash games a little bit, because people became focused more on just tournaments only. But I think there needs to be a good blend of both. And, I think we also needed some consolidation, and this created some consolidation, but I think maybe it's gone too far. Yeah. And now we're in a spot where we need things to just calm down a little bit. Some of those people that just wanted to get out there and gamble right away, maybe the numbers go down a little bit, and then they'll see that they need poker again. And I think, there's a lot of great rooms that are still open and open up and doing quite well. So, I think there is a balance there, and hopefully a lot of these casinos and card rooms find that spot. So I know the card rooms. Oh, sorry.
Hey, who's our friendly visitor there?
That's Max. I know the card rooms are definitely in need of having all facets of the game. So, I'm always out there pushing and hoping that we can keep these things going and that the tournaments can be as successful as they have been coming out of the other side of COVID.
Yeah, I love that, because I think we're in a position where we do, we interact with a number of smaller venues that have not restarted poker tournaments, and they may not. And, we do get asked our opinion, like, what do you guys think? Like, I would love to be able to kind of give them some more ammunition, because I know the argument is, we put butts in the seat. Tournament players put butts in the seat, and they're going to do other things, and they're going to bring with family members that maybe will gamble too, but it's kind of a hard argument. So I'm always in search of what can I tell these venue operators to justify tournament poker, because obviously I would like to see that continue as well.
Yeah. And it's the thing, people are always saying, the rake's going higher. And, one of the reasons it was going higher is because of maybe something that I caused. And this was this big wave of reentry. And I think it's reentries aren't for everybody. A reentry shouldn't be in every tournament. Maybe there should be some tournaments that don't have no reentry and more freeze outs and things like that, because a lot of those people that would come in and play a tournament, then go play a cash game, just re-enter in the tournament. And once they're out the door. They've spent their money that they've come in with. And so I think you're going to see more freeze outs come back too. At least I hope so. Because I think that's really the way poker tournaments should be played. But I think that the poker players need to understand that there's a reason why we're running these tournaments. And at the same time, I think we'll be back. I think we'll be back and better than ever. Like I said, we broke numbers on the World Poker Tour and some of our events coming back out. We had our biggest 5K ever at the Venetian. We had our biggest WPT event ever at Seminole Hard Rock. So the desire's there to play tournament poker, and I don't think that's going to wane.
Yeah, I told my home casino, I said, I'm your worst client ever. You got to figure out a way to keep me there because I live 20 minutes away. I drive there. I play the tournament. I don't eat anything. I maybe have a soda or some water at the table. And then when I'm done playing the tournament, I leave. Like, you got to figure out a way to keep me there to justify it. I'm like, I'm the worst customer ever. So figure out how to keep me there, and then you'll figure out how to keep the others there. John, did you have something?
Well, I was just going to say, I know from my perspective, having poker in the tournaments definitely allows my wife to lose money at the slots. We have a constant game. When we go out to Vegas, can I win enough playing poker to offset her losses at the slot tables? And it's not very often that it comes out that way.
Well, that's the problem too, is that they don't see that. They see you maybe with your card in the poker room, and they see her with her card out in the slots, and not put the two together, right? And so that's been a constant struggle for the last 20 years for me, is to try and get people to understand that's the case. I come from the card room world in San Jose, where we didn't have slots, so it wasn't as much of an issue. But they have other games, they call them California games, which is, the baccarats and the blackjack and all that other stuff that they play out there, that they would much rather have a player at that table than at a poker table. So it's been a struggle that I've gone through like my entire career. But at the same time, I think that, a lot of casino managers that have been around for a long time understand the value of a poker player. And, I hope that those are the people that are in the right places to make these decisions going forward.
And John, we are going to send that clip to your wife too, by the way, that you just called her out on the RecPoker podcast.
Yes.
She's heard me tell that story to several people before.
There you go.
There is one follow-up that came in through the chat, follow-up to kind of our earlier conversation with the WSOP and what they're doing too. Do you anticipate, the vaccine requirement, the vaccine mandate as something for WPT events? Could you imagine a scenario where that could potentially become? Is that going to be a venue related decision? Or
we on the World Poker Tour have partners, and they're the partner casinos. So the ones that just got postponed, Jacksonville and in Maryland Live, we didn't make that decision. The casinos made the decision, and maybe not even the casino poker room director made that decision. It might be the casino itself. In Maryland, it was the casino itself. In Jacksonville, it was the director of poker that made that decision. And it's because of, what was going on in Jacksonville at the time and what's going on up in Maryland. So I think that we will support anything that our partner casinos feel in the best interest of their casino and the player. So it's not really our decision. Whereas the World Series of Poker is owned by, Caesars. So Caesars is making the decision, right? This is their decision that they've made. So we don't really have that latitude to say, no, you have to run that event, right? Where we could say, we're gonna go to your event. If you guys have mask mandates, if you have vaccination mandates, or whatever you have, we're there to support our partners, and we'll do whatever they say they want for their players and their guests.
Hence the word partners. Big fan of the word partner. Our Australian member that's on the chat, he said down here. He didn't say down under, but he said down here, people will likely need to show a passport to prove that they've been vaccinated to get access to the venue. So everybody's struggling with this. What do we do? I know it's a wrestle for us. We rented a big Airbnb house in Vegas for the World Series. Private pool, just gonna have a blast down there. And we've had to struggle with what's our policy. We've erred on the side of you just got to be vaccinated. We're going to follow the WSOP rule, but it's tough, man. We're all just kind of dealing with it. And, we're all people and people have different perspectives. And I love that you're being as respectful as possible to everybody that has different perspectives. And that's what it is. I think almost to your point about being a TD, you come in, you make a ruling, and then you move on with your life. Like, not everybody's going to like it.
Yeah. And it is a thing, look, there's a big Twitter beef going on all over through poker players because of what's happening. And, it's their policy. If you don't want to play, you don't have to play. It's not a boycott. We're boycotting. Well,
right.
You're not really boycotting. You're just not allowed to play. So,
right. Exactly.
And people say there's going to be fake vaccination cards and all of those things, but it is what it is. We'll get through it. We're going to get through this, and the United States is going to get through it. But I'm all out for the global game, and hopefully some of these people can come over here and play the World Series. And it's not going to be the same without the rest of the world here during the summer, which it wasn't. We're coming through the summer now, and the beautiful months are coming up here in Las Vegas. So I'm excited. There are a lot of people will be coming out here because I get to go take them out to the golf course. So
I'm excited to go to Vegas in October and not in June. As somebody that's only been there 3 times before, in June, I'm excited to go in October. I know we're a little bit past our time. One more question if you don't, one quick question here, and then we'll let you go. I promise. From Chapo down in Australia, just kind of a little bit different question, but I think back to the heart of who we are and kind of your roots too. He just says, what's your one best tip to run an enjoyable, successful, small stakes MTT?
Just make it fun, and I am always a guy that's a stickler for the rules, even in those small ones, because I want people to know that when they come to play a $20, $30 event, or, even a free event, that they're going to play by the rules, because a lot of those people you may not know, they may be the next big name in poker. They've got to learn and cut their teeth in a way that they know that they can go to the next level, to the $100 events, the $200 events, the $500 events, and the $1,000 World Poker Tour events, that they know that they're playing by the same rules. So I really do think you want to make it fun, but at the same time, you want to follow the rules, and you want people to understand the rules in a friendly way. So I'm all about the fun. That's what I think poker needs to be more fun. If it's not fun, the recreational players aren't going to stick around and play.
Right. That's exactly right. All right. So we will let you go, but with that if there's anything kind of going on that you wanted to kind of either, promote or push a little bit, or what's the best way for people to connect with you or WPT? Like, what should people do? What's the call to action? What's the next step that you want to leave people with?
Just if you have any questions, if you want to, discuss anything, there's, great people in poker. Kev Math is one of them that'll answer anything about schedules and stuff. If you have questions about rules or tournament rules, or even cash game rules, I can still answer those as well. Reach out to me on Twitter at Savage Poker. I'm on Instagram and Facebook and all of those things. But like I said, I enjoy it. I think it's part of the game. It's part of my job to educate and help promote the game. And I really just want to make it a global, game. There's so much room. We need more women in poker. We got to stress that when you're at the table with women at the table and you treat everybody the same, you treat everybody great, make it a fun experience for the other people at the table, and the game's going to grow. It's never going to go away.
Love it. All right. Well, Matt, thank you again so much for your time. Don't be a stranger. We'll be in touch, and hopefully we'll get a chance to meet in 3 dimensions up at Thunder Valley in December.
Anytime, guys. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care. Well, there he goes, Matt Savage. Jim, why don't we go ahead and roll the Jonathan Little ad, and then we'll come back and we'll chat a little bit about our reactions to Matt and what's going on with the community happenings.
Have you ever wondered whether you should call a preflop raise or 3-bet instead? What do you do when you have a flush draw? Do you raise it, or do you just call? What do you do with ace-king when you miss the flop? Are you tired of guessing about what the right play is with your particular hand? Well, my name is Jonathan Little, and I am a 2-time World Poker Tour champion and creator of PokerCoaching.com, where we offer over 1,000 interactive hand quizzes where you play a hand and then get real-time feedback from our world-class pros. Don't guess and don't stress. Just register for your free account at PokerCoaching.com/RecPoker right now.
All right, there he is, Jonathan Little, PokerCoaching.com/RecPoker. All right, guys, Matt Savage, your thoughts.
Yeah, just exactly what I thought. He's been great on Twitter. He is exactly who he is, isn't he? You know what you're getting with Matt Savage, and that's the way a tournament director should be. So it's great to get to meet him and pick his brain a little.
Yeah, as far as tournament directors go, he is the closest thing to a rock star that there is in the industry. So it was good to meet him. He's constantly answering everyone's questions, and I think he's probably one of the most influential people in poker.
Yeah, I pick up on that. Like, it seems like he's in every conversation. Now, he wasn't really expressing himself that way. He seems like he's humble enough to not position himself as like the influencer, but it feels like he's influencing a lot of stuff going on, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, before the TDA started off, you'd go to a room and you wouldn't really understand what the different rules were. So you couldn't be a traveling poker player and understand how to play. You really needed to do your homework to understand the rule variations. And so he's been instrumental in that. He actually, for a while back this was probably 2003, 2004, he actually had a television show about poker where he'd go in and do things.
During the moneymaker thing, like, right? It was the perfect timing. Yeah.
Yep. And it just he's involved in so many different events. I mean, the World Poker Tour events, does everything all over there. He was the main poker tournament director at the Commerce Club in LA, which the LAPC is probably the second largest poker tournament in the world, right behind the World Series of Poker. So, and he was the tournament director at the World Series of Poker. Right before Jack Effel took over and the Moneymaker boom.
And I think Bay 101, I think he's done a ton of stuff there. I think that's his home casino. Yeah.
Yeah, he could have actually, was given the opportunity to become the WSOP tournament director. But they required exclusivity for that. And he opted not to do that at that point in time.
Okay. Look at Samsky bringing the real message here. Love it.
John's the historian. We know.
He's our historian.
I just know lots of useless information.
That's not useless. That's interesting. I love that. I mean, whatever that says about him or whatever, you never know what the whole story is, but it feels like it has it rings of, I just want to grow the industry rather than grow a single organization. At least that's a great way to position it. Well, anything else about Matt or any follow-up stuff on him? Otherwise, we can get into some of our other stuff. Jim?
Well, if you want to impress him with your play, you can go to rec.poker/WPT and enter into that free tournament that we're going to be playing in Club WPT. He's not joking. He's going to be playing in it. There's a bounty on Matt. A few of the other big names around WPT are going to be playing in it. So it's not just a free ticket to the 2,500 entry on the line. You also get a chance to make your mark on the Poker Cognoscenti.
and he streams a lot. I guess I don't know if he's specifically streaming that tournament or not. I think he is, but he streams a lot of stuff. So hopefully he'll be streaming that as well.
Yeah, and I think Taylor Moss is going to be coordinating something with him, or maybe we can watch that stream at twitch.tv/RecPoker on our channel there. That would be fun.
Yep. All right. Yeah. So more about
Taylor
that.
Can teach him how to.
Go ahead, John.
I was going to say Taylor can teach him how to take streaming to the next level.
Exactly. Moss. Yeah. He'll play pocket fives and beat him, and then Chris Jones will never let him hear the end of it. But no, so September 25th. I know if you've been listening to the podcast initially, I don't know if we ever announced it, but it was looking like September 18th. It got moved to September 25th. So that is the day. This thing releases on September 14th. All right. So 11 days from the day of this release, we're going to have this tournament September 25th. And so we have all the details on this thing at rec.poker/WPT. But here's the deal. You need to be a Club WPT member to play this thing. There are some opportunities for free trials. There are some great ways that you can become a member and play this thing. If you live in a state, there's a few states, unfortunately, Minnesota, my hometown, my home state is one of those. There's a few states where you can't, you're not eligible for prizes normally, but you are eligible to win this prize for this one specific tournament. So I have just 3 hours ago booked an Airbnb in Hudson, Wisconsin. So if you're in Minnesota and you want to go to Hudson, Wisconsin, we've talked to the owner. We've got all kinds of space available for a bunch of people to go over there. We can play on the same IP address. That's not an issue. It's Club WPT. So Steve at rec.poker, shoot me an email. Let's get the details. Let's roll over there. RecPoker's picking up the bill for the Airbnb. So you just come play for free, play on Club WPT. We'll hang out a bit. We got the place for the night. A couple of you, if you want to stay over, you can. I don't have room for everybody to stay over, but we got a couple of beds there. But just going to have a fun time over there. So it's one of our road trips, I guess, officially, but a short one. But really, there's some nuanced details with this thing. Go to rec.poker/WPT. You become a Club WPT member. You get the free trial if you want, or stay a premium member if you can keep playing, support it, play it. But we have an affiliate link. You can use the code RecPoker. If you use that code, you get some bonus points. You can use those bonus points to enter one of their Sunday tournaments. If you're eligible for prizes, it's a 5K guaranteed tournament. So there's a lot of cool stuff here. And, if nothing else, we're just supporting the partnership that's growing between us and the WPT. The more that they like what we're doing, the more that we're going to be partnered with them, the more stuff that we're going to put out there for you guys. So anyway, just go check out all the details there. Jim, am I missing anything, or should they just go to /WPT and...
I mean, you killed it. I just want to jump on a couple of things in there because it's just so many exciting things to share about this. But yeah, if you go to rec.poker/WPT, sign up through there, use the link, use the code RecPoker for the bonus, get the free trial, see what all the exciting prizes are to stick around. And then, Steve, so you're telling me if I live in Minnesota, I can just get myself to Hudson, Wisconsin, and then hang out with you and Taylor Moss and John and the rest of the RecPoker crowd for free in the Airbnb, hang out, play in this free tournament, maybe get my entry into a WPT event.
Yeah.
And all I have to do is show up and hang out with you guys and have fun.
I'm gonna call it. Yeah, that's exactly right. You got to be vaccinated. Sorry, we're gonna keep that rule in place just to keep things clean. So everybody that there has to be vaccinated. But yeah, if you're in Minnesota, come over there. Or if you're closer to one of the other borders, I think North Dakota, South Dakota, Iowa. I think those are all states you can play in. You can go to Club WPT to check it out. But go wherever you want to go. Go find a Caribou and play there. But yeah, if you want to come hang out with us, man, that's what we're gonna be doing. We can get in at 11 a.m. The tournament's at 1 p.m. So that gives us plenty of time to kind of test the Wi-Fi. Bring your hotspot with you just in case there's any issues. And we've got another guy. We've got Steve Olson out in Hudson. He said his house might be available. So we got a backup plan for overflow. So all kinds of fun stuff. I don't know. Going a mile a minute. We got all kinds of really cool stuff. But it's going to be really fun. And I think we want to get part of me wants to get as many people to play the thing as possible.
Yeah.
Part of me says, no, stay home.
I want that ticket.
Go for a walk. Take the dog out because I want to win that thing. Yes. I want to win. It's a $2,500 WPT DeepStacks main event seat.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And if I heard right, and correct me if I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
Didn't I hear that this is not available to all of the WPT members? You have to actually come through RecPoker to play.
Yeah, no, you are correct. Thank you, John. So yeah, this is a RecPoker event. So you need to have a free membership at rec.poker. You don't need to be a premium member. Of course, we'd love you to become one. But if you're a free member at rec.poker, we call it a community member, then you will see the code password thing that you'll need to enter. So you're a member at Club WPT. You register for the tournament. It says, what's the password? Go to rec.poker/WPT. And if you are logged in with your free membership, the password will appear like magic. Mark Pershawn and Jim Reed have figured out how to make it appear like magic. It'll be obvious. You'll put that password in Club WPT, then you can play. For the people that are in Club WPT that are not free members at rec.poker, they aren't going to be able to play this as much as they want. Mm-hmm. It's going to say, what's your password? They're not going to know it. So yeah, this is a huge win for RecPoker to try to make it available for our membership. Now we know some people that aren't currently associated with us are going to get in there. They're going to get the password. And that's great. But man, we're rooting on one of our own, man. We want one of you guys that have been around with us for a while. We want somebody to qualify for that thing that says, man, I've been listening to the podcast for 3 years. I'm a free member. And now I'm going to go, wear the patch at the Club W, out at the, what's the place up in Northern California? Thunder Valley.
Yeah. It's in San Diego, I think.
Oh, that was Northern California. What do I know?
Yeah.
You Canadians, I don't know. But anyway,
oh, God, I just know West Coast somewhere south. I don't know.
I think it's actually near Sacramento.
Okay,
John. Got it.
John, Jim's like San Diego, isn't it?
It sounds warm down there.
You
Yeah.
Canadians.
Well, anyway. I know everyone in the U.S. thinks Canada is just one area up there, so it's all city. The same, and everyone knows everyone there.
Hey, speaking of Canada, I just got to take one quick second here. The night before, I'm actually by happenstance going to be at the Playground Poker Club near Montreal, Quebec. So if any RecPoker members, I know a couple a couple of premium members are planning to join me there. I'm going to play all night. I'm taking the train in on Friday. I'm taking the train back on Saturday, and I'm playing in the WPT tournament later that afternoon. But Friday, September 24th, I would love to see some folks swinging by the Playground Poker Club and keep me company while I grind out overnight and do a little practice for WSOP.
That's super fun. So do that. Hey, you want to give any props up to the little mini tournament that you guys just had? Some of you. I see Kim on here. I know EBM won the thing, but what was happening? You guys had a little RecPoker meetup up there in Canada.
We did. Yeah, we did. We had a little impromptu get together with some of the RecPoker Middle Ontario premium members. So yeah, Kim, Pat Vet Kilroy, and my buddy Stu Carriage and Elizabeth and some other fun friends. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, super, man. That's the kind of fun. Can't wait for this stuff just to lift and do more and more of that. But anyway, so I think we beat that thing to death. But, we're really excited about it. And we had Matt frickin' Savage on here to talk about it too, which is super cool. So anyway, if you have any questions, rec.poker/WPT or email me, Steve at rec.poker. If you have any questions at all, please ask them. We always tell people, you got to ask questions. We try to think of everything. Just ask. Ask. And if we're not approachable, that's on us. But I think we're pretty approachable. At least I hope so. If I'm not approachable, then email Jim at rec.poker. And if that fails, we'll send you to Somsky because he's the absolute most approachable person ever. And he has nothing going on. He's not busy at all. So
no, I'm never doing anything.
Good Lord, the guy's a busy dude. All right. So we got the World Poker Tour thing. Just one thing you caught up in this thing, for those of you who've been listening, the WSOP house in Vegas, we kind of went back and forth on that decision. It's been arduous. It's been difficult. We decided to follow the WSOP's lead, and vaccinations are completely required to stay at the WSOP house. So I know that's not popular with everybody, but if you are somebody that's concerned about wanting to only be around vaccinated people, maybe this opens up the door for you where you're previously concerned. That was always kind of our rule, but we're always kind of like, how heavily do we enforce it? We are enforcing it. So if there are rooms in the WSOP house, so the whole place has like 4 private queen bedrooms and then a room with 3 bunk beds, six beds. And so kind of for whatever you want. And it's pretty full, but there's still room available on a number of dates. So if that's of interest, shoot me a note. Some details are rec.poker/road trips as well. It's going to be super fun there. And then the last thing is we've been talking about the staking a little bit.
Yes.
We piloted a staking program down in Florida. So we had some investors, we had some people playing. The management of it was a little bit tougher, a little bit bigger, even though I'm a spreadsheet guru.
It's true. It's true.
It was a little bit taxing. So what we're going to do, and we thought, how can we use this to build community more and more? So we're going to be putting the details out there, rec.poker/staking. But really, it's going to be more of a pooled approach. So there's going to be certain, our premium members, our Wrecking Crew members are going to be eligible to be players in this thing. And we're going to work out all the details. By the time this is released, we'll have all the details out there. So go to rec.poker/staking, but it's going to be more of a pooled thing. So when you're investing in one, you're investing in kind of the community of things. It's going to be a pool that goes beyond just sort of one event. It's going to be a little bit more of an ongoing pool of payouts. And so we'll have all the details out there, rec.poker/staking. But thanks for you guys. Yeah, Troy, I see you're out there too. Thanks for participating in the pilot. It was super fun. We didn't have the results we were looking for. We were down in our investments, but it was very successful in terms of how a pilot is supposed to operate and kind of working through how everything flows through. So thanks for that. So that's all the stuff I had to share. Mr. Somsky, turn it over to you maybe for the home games.
Oh, did we actually have some home games this last week? Oh, yeah, we did.
I saw another name out there too that I'm going to get the mute button ready again.
Yeah. Well, the first thing I need to do is I need to thank both Chad McBean and Kelly Stork. This month, for some reason, the first of the month just snuck up on me. And here it was September 1st, and none of the tournaments for this month had been created. So
I didn't even hear this.
Yeah, well, Chad got a hold of me like at 2:30 in the afternoon.
The guy notices everything.
He is on fire. Chad knows everything.
Him. I'm going to start testing him with stuff and just see what he notices. It's crazy.
Chad's nuts. How does he do it?
Anyway, and then I got another note from Kelly saying, oh, where do I find the tournament for tonight's No Limit Hold'em series? It's not there. Oh, wait, there it is. So, I mean, she looked, it wasn't there. I was in the middle of creating it as she was typing it out to me, and then it was there by the time she.
I love that about the community. Like, and we need that, you guys. Like, we're just all volunteers. We're like all just kind of like doing our thing, doing the best that we can. So we need you. If you see something that you think should be there, just tell us. And so that's so good that they did that, because sometimes people just sit on it and then it's too late. So much appreciated.
And people like Paul Quark and Jamel and other people that have
Quark is like a screen name.
He knows who he is. And Jamel and like Danny and too many to name. ARW
Roger.
Adam. Roger in particular lately.
Jeez.
I know he's been getting really involved. Like RecPoker needs its members to help out with stuff like that. The whole reason I'm a part of this is because I wrote into Steve and said, "Hey, Steve, here's a couple things I think I could help you with." And like that's the Steve way, man. So don't be shy. You email Steve at rec.poker and you tell him something that you could help with, and you might find you're a part of RecPoker before the night is over.
We might have a new audio engineer out of this thing.
I know. I'm so excited for this.
Okay, so here is a piece of truth that it's never been revealed before. Steve sent me an email saying, I got this notice from this Jim Reed guy. Do you think we should let him come in and be part of this group? And I replied back, I don't think so. But I forgot to type the don't.
It's your fault.
That was exactly how that happened.
I was surprised how amenable you were. I was like, this doesn't seem like John.
Yeah.
And
you're giving our personal animosity with John and I. The lack of chemistry made it really difficult.
John's like the gospel for me, man. If I just ask John whatever he says I do. So he's like, sure. Okay, I didn't realize you'd forgotten the word in there.
Yeah, but I felt it was too late at that point.
And now it's really
been awkward. Now it's awkward. It's just awkward now. Sorry, John.
Okay, so anyway, on September 1st, we did actually have our No Limit Hold'em series. So Klinger 50, Julie Murphy also owes a debt of gratitude to Chad McBean, and she won her very first No Limit Hold'em series event.
Nicely done, Julie.
I wonder if this is the Julie Murphy I know. Did she just start playing? Like, I didn't even recognize that screen name.
I believe it's fairly new.
Wow,
I think she's a
Julie. If that's the Julie I know, well, way to go, either Julie. But I mean,
way to go, whoever Julie it is, whether Steve knows
Julie,
you or not.
If it's the one I know, way to go. If it's not,
I am very impressed with you, Julie Murphy. Whether or not Steve knows you, I don't care. I think you are a valuable person and worthwhile, and you should be congratulated for your accomplishment.
I think it's a bigger accomplishment for somebody who knows me. If they know me, they're already behind the 8 ball. So it's a bigger accomplishment for them to achieve something.
And it's a friend of Kim's. I did know it's the Julie. It's another Canadian member. I believe.
Is that right?
So,
okay, it must not be the one I know. If she's Canadian, I don't know her then. Wow, way to go, Julie.
That's so exciting. I think she's Canadian. If it's the Julie Murphy I'm thinking about.
TOC. Now she's in the year in TOC too.
I know.
Yeah,
I got some catching up to do. Julie's way ahead of me on that one.
I'm in there.
Yeah.
All right. Then we have for our nightly events, August 30th, Graphic 16, Roger Shute. His third nightly victory of the year. That's his 11th night lifetime.
Wow.
August 31st. This is a familiar name. I think I was just saying it last week. Les Paul 99, Michael Pinciero got his second nightly victory for the year.
Way to go. Michael was a really big participant in the Aura recently. We had some great conversations about some tough hands in there.
Sweet. I saw him out there. Yeah.
And then we have Binkley, Eric Jin. Got his third nightly victory of the year.
Who's who list.
I know. RecPoker Binkley. Or Rec Binkley. I love that.
Evil Roy CA, David Westerveld. Got
another Canadian.
Yep, that is another Canadian. And then, of course,
this guy.
It seems like we can't go a week without mentioning this name. Keck Geek 65, Jacob Kiki got his 9th victory for the year, 18th nightly series victory lifetime. Wow. That is just incredible.
And I think it's fifth, so it's like the 9th of this year for the nightly, but I think it's his 15th, like including like the mixed games and the international and everything too. Like his goal was 20 for this year, and he had kind of a slow start, and now he's got like 15 through September, so he's like right on pace.
And
I
just
think he's ahead of pace, actually.
And just to be clear, we're playing. These aren't one table tournaments. You hear some of these names week after week.
The international ones sometimes.
Oh yeah, the international one that does have a small field, but a lot of these other ones are like 50, 60, 70 players in them. So the fact that you keep seeing some of these names in here, it means something. They're definitely the cream rising to the top.
Chapo asked what the all-time high is for that. I don't remember what it is. Probably Doug Drabeck.
Still Drabeck, yeah.
Last year, I don't remember the number, but I think
like 29 or something.
I think for the Reckies, last year we just kind of did 1 year. I think this year we're going to add some sort of information about all-time ranks and some of those things. We're going to dig out those stats a little bit more, so we'll kind of have that. What's the record for the most of each wins and that kind of thing. It's going to be super fun. The data analytic guy, I'm excited about all of that.
We'll put that on Danny and Colin to put together for the Reckies this year. Colin Anderson and
more.
So,
hey, John.
Oh, sorry, John. Are you still talking?
For number one, Doug Drabeck has 29 lifetime victories across all the series, and Keck Geek 65 has 25.
Wow, he's knocking on the door.
They're neck to neck. And this year, Drabeck's not going at the same pace he was last year.
I don't think he's playing as much, but no.
Right. I'm not saying
leave him alone, John.
Yeah. But I'm not. I think I'd be shocked if by the end of the year Jacob Kiki doesn't have the all-time wins for RecPoker.
Yeah, for sure.
That's going to be a RecPoker. What was the award we did last year? The what was it? Performance of the year or something like that. That's going to be a candidate.
Yeah.
I'm going
to do more breakdowns though this year. I'm going to look more like ROI and stuff too.
Yeah, cool.
I'm going to break it down. Like none of this.
Oh, he's going to break it down.
Wins are wins, but what's your ROI? That's what I want.
Anyway, so on to our international events. Rick the Good Dog, Rick Rock Omen, got his 5th international series victory, and Michael Babker, got his 2nd international.
Nice.
Did you skip one on purpose?
On purpose?
I looked at the PowerPoint, and I know sometimes you go back and forth, but I think you skipped this one on purpose.
I noticed that your arm is hovering over the mute button there.
You see me on the you can see the
I see it right there going and I figure I just don't want to let you have that easy of a win, so I just thought I'd skip it myself. That way it was my choice and not yours.
Yes, hold the power, John, and your dignity.
Exactly. So, Poker Geek MN John Somsky won his 3rd mixed victory.
Yes, 3rd mixed. Way to go, John.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it was in Horse. Horse is one of my favorites because it has a variety of games.
It was super fun. Like I'm kind of hooked on these mixed games now. I mean, you guys cocked me into it. Now it's fun. I haven't played the last couple, but I played this one, sort of the mixed game practice event, the horse thing, and it's tricky to kind of switch games, but it is fun to it's good for your brain. Now I'm Raz. Now I'm doing this. Now I want high. Now I want low. Now it's split pot. Now it's not. And it was good.
The other thing is because the games switch, and because in general no one is as big of an expert as they are in Hold'em. I mean, you have just pure wizards. When you go to a mixed game event, people are in general having a lot more fun than they are in the no limit Hold'em events. So it is just a great time, and they are a lot of fun to be had. But
nice
last but not least, we have Don't Chase 666. Joseph Armstrong won the LPP event for this week, his first ever LPP. So contact Jim at rec.poker to earn your 1 month of free training at Learn Pro Poker.
Nice.
And don't forget, we also have our Heads Up event this year. On September 18th, we will have our Heads Up event, and the winner of that will be eligible to play in next year's Marek Madness.
Oh, so good. I can't play it. I'm so bummed.
Yeah.
I mean, we got a family thing, so I can't play it, but man, it's going to be fun. And that Marek Madness was really fun, even though Andrew Feist sucked out of me first round. Off the nuts.
Well, you figure, but so last time I think we got 25 people in our Heads Up event.
Yeah.
This time I assume we'll get a few more than that.
Yeah.
So maybe let's say we get 50 people. You got to figure your odds of actually winning it are like 1 in 1,000.
Oh, I know. I just want to be.
I'm not sure you have a statistically better advantage if you were to play it or not to actually become the winner.
Savage.
So savage. This guy is known as the nicest guy at poker. I think it's everybody except me. So I'm just hoping I get an invite from Rec Madness. Like I'm hoping like whoever the powers are that just select like who are the 7 people that get to be in that 8-person bracket. I just want to be one of them, and I want to get like the automatic in because I'm not going to earn my way in, and then I can be the first round bye for whoever happens to get in the bracket with me.
Yeah, you should talk to someone on the RecPoker leadership team, Steve. See if John can do something about it.
I defer this. Like this is for you wizards that can figure out who's this 8-person bracket. Whether I'm in or not, I don't know. But it's my only chance of getting in is if I'm selected as one of the freebies.
I have a feeling that we'll find a way to make sure you're there. After all, you want other people to have easy games.
It'll be like a real March Madness where like there's the 6 teams, 65 and 66. I'll be with 9 and 10 or whatever to get in. Whatever that is. Oh my god, it's so much fun! It's just so much fun. Oh my god,
you guys crack me up.
Yeah, so the winner of this thing gets into the Rec Madness, which is a big deal in the spring. So that'll be really fun. And we're gonna hopefully we can get some more prizes from some folks too to kind of beef that up a little bit.
Man, I'm going to lose my stuff when I meet you guys for real in Las Vegas because you guys crack me up like it's your job over Zoom. I'm not going to survive this kind of chicanery and tomfoolery down there.
I'm telling you, this guy is absolutely hilarious. I spent a 6-hour car ride down and a 6-hour car ride back with him, and I had Lyme's disease on the way back, and I was like feeling horrible, and I was throwing my sandwich out the window, and I probably was the biggest ass to be with, but he was just so much fun. I mean, so yeah, it's a treat to meet Somsky. So whoever gets a chance to, you'll enjoy that. Yeah. Well,
another reason to be excited about September 18th is that it's the first time that Sky Matsuhashi is going to be joining me as co-host for our new series of study groups that we're doing together. So starting in September, in fact, by the time you hear this, you can go and download, if you go to rec.poker, go to the content archive. If you're a premium member, you can watch a longer video series as part of your premium membership at RecPoker that normally would be behind the paywall of Sky's membership site, this training site, the Poker Forge. So every month he's going to be releasing a longer training video just for RecPoker members. And then on the 3rd Saturday of every month, he and I are going to host a little Q&A study group where any RecPoker members can come and talk to Sky himself and ask him questions about how to use Poker Tracker, playing 6-Mac Cash, playing online. And really what he's best at is active study and making us accountable to our studies, which is something that RecPoker is all about. So I'm really excited for that. September 18th, circle that. Don't be late. We're going to have some fun.
And Jim, that study group, if I'm correct, is at noon Central Time?
That's right.
And you know what is conveniently right after that at 1 p.m.
Tell
Central
me, John.
Time? That is the Heads Up tournament.
No way. Like the study group ends and then you can just play in the Heads Up tournament right after?
Exactly.
Man. Whoever works the schedule here knows what they're doing.
Somebody knows what they're doing. Hey, John, on the Heads Up thing, just to clarify, I'm not able to play it, but for those that want to play it, they have to be registered before 1 o'clock, right? There is no late entry to that thing, right?
Correct. There is no late registration because it's a shootout format. It really would make it much more difficult logistically to allow late registration. So be sure you sign up beforehand. The tournament's already been created. You can register now. I'm already registered for it. So you can register now and go from there.
Sweet. Okay, so register now if you're going to play it. If you're not going to play it, if you find out, try to remember to go out and unregister just so we don't have all these buys and stuff. That would be ideal because it's sort of this. The problem with having it open early is we have all these buys and it's kind of a pain. Some people even got like 2 buys, I think. But if you want to err on the side of being safe, get out there and register now. So that's fantastic. And Jim and Sky, Jim's a kid in the candy store with this thing. So between you and Sky, that's going to be a pretty lit study session, I would say.
If you guys think I know about Poker Tracker and HUDs and frequencies and that sort of thing, he's the guy that I email for help every once in a while. So that's you're in for a treat. Yeah. Okay,
so I know we're way over time, but maybe we're not. Maybe this is what it is. But a good conversation, great stuff happening in the community.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you guys are aware of that with the seminars? Because I know Chris Jones couldn't be on tonight. Anything that with Taylor's twitching every week. twitch.tv/RecPoker. What do we need to tell people about these two things?
We do have a couple of things, Steve. How do we're going to, oh my God, we need more podcasts. We need more podcasts. So we've had a few new exciting additions to the Wrecking Crew.
Yeah,
so
yes.
Kev Math has joined the Wrecking Crew. If you go to rec.poker/KevMath, you can go and learn all about what he's getting up to, subscribe to his Substack. He's going to be posting in our forums a little more. He's sort of understood that engaging with recreational poker players is a big part of how we make the game better for everybody. So I'm super excited to be welcoming Kevin Mathers to the Wrecking Crew. And I'm also super excited to be welcoming a guy named Dara O'Kearney to the Wrecking Crew. That's right. Dara is taking a step up. Doke himself. So if you want to go to rec.poker/Doke, you can learn all about Dara. You can get some links to some of his books and his courses. He's done a couple webinars that I've really enjoyed. We're going to try and get a couple discount codes for some of that stuff. And yeah, you can talk to him in the forums. His username is @Doke here at rec.poker. And he's also going to be working with us every month in our monthly seminar. So what happens is Chris runs this program where we all play a bunch of hands together. We record the action. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. It's amazing. It's on Poker Now, the platform, and we give Dara a hand that our two premium members have played against each other, and he breaks it down at a professional level. He does a 20-minute video breaking down this hand last month between these two players. It was nuts. Yeah. So that's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, we've also got Eric Jin is officially on the Wrecking Crew now. Keith Brandt, Monkey System, is on the Wrecking Crew. The Wrecking Crew is growing. We're gaining numbers, and we're getting more powerful every week. And it's amazing. Everyone's got their own little thing that they do there, and so that's the thing I'm so excited about.
Yeah, it makes it's so good. It makes it harder and harder to just figure out who's going to win the first World Series of Poker bracelet. Like seriously, like Eric and Keith are like beasts. Like
yes,
I used to think I know poker. Now I'm the dumbest person in the room, which is so good. I love it. No, I love it. Like I am absolutely the dumbest person in the room, and every time somebody new comes in, I feel dumber and dumber. But it's a good thing. It's why I do these ones. Like, hey man, how's it going? And you guys are like breaking stuff down because Eric Jin and Keith Brandt, like seriously, like legit people and legit players. And so I don't know what their plans are for the Wrecking Crew, but part of the Wrecking Crew model is to create a platform for people to kind of spread their knowledge and kind of build influence and maybe do some poker coaching and that sort of stuff. I would endorse both of those guys if they're interested in doing poker coaching. Do it with these guys. I mean, Jim is great, John's great, everybody's great, but these are two more options that we'll make sure we get on the podcast to introduce them so that people know, because you're always kind of looking for that person that you jive with or whatever. But man, these guys are very, very knowledgeable, can really teach the game both to beginners and intermediate and advanced people. So more options for you if you're out there going, I want to learn the game. I think I could use some coaching. Go to rec.poker, go to the Wrecking Crew. We got all kinds of people that offer coaching. Find somebody that you think is a good fit for you, try them out, and get your own coach at a very reasonable price. And I tell you what, you're not going to be disappointed in any of these options. So great stuff. Yeah. Eric, Keith, obviously Kevin and Dara, fantastic adds to the Wrecking Crew. It's a powerful force, man.
I always thought that Dara was a good up-and-comer, a good kid in the game. And it's nice to know that he's finally arrived. And, he's at the top now.
He's legitimate now.
He's made it. He's made it.
Made it as the Wrecking Crew.
We call that social proof in the business. He now has some, he's got books and stuff. He's had podcasts, but now the Wrecking Crew, he's now got social proof that he knows what he's talking about.
It really legitimizes him.
It does.
I think this might put him on the map.
Dara, you're welcome. It's hard whatever we can do to help. All right, guys. Anything else for the good of the order? Twitch, Taylor, twitch.tv/RecPoker every Thursday night. He does some bonus stuff too. He's going to be streaming on this September 25th thing when we're out in Hudson at the house. He's going to be out there with his stuff streaming. We're going to all be in the room together, so we get to hear what he's thinking too, which is going to be really fun. But it's just going to be a blast. But yeah, log into the RecPoker so you can follow it, and then you can also subscribe. If you want to support RecPoker a little bit financially too, if you have Amazon Prime, you can actually link that and become a subscriber to the Twitch channel, and it gives like $2 or $3 a month to the RecPoker Twitch channel. So if you're not using that already,
just to be clear, it doesn't cost you anything. It takes Jeff Bezos' pocket and puts it in.
Jeff's paying us $3 a month or whatever. So if you haven't linked it already, do that. There's a few steps, but I was able to figure it out with instructions. So
that's impressive.
That means you probably can too. All right. Anything else, guys? Anything else? We better start wrapping this thing up.
Yeah, premium members can join me for a recording of the forums episode after this if they like, and every week on Monday night.
Troy and Kevin and Kim hung on here till the very
end. I know they want to see it.
They're the endurance people there too. Way to go! It's fun to have you guys on there for sure.
Yeah,
but check out rec.poker for everything. Sign up for the twerp newsletter this week in RecPoker. The podcast, we'd love to have you subscribe it. If you're listening, man, rate it and review it. That helps us a ton. If you ever go to the YouTube channel, RecPoker, we'd love to have you subscribe out there, comment out there, all that kind of stuff. But first of all, thank you to our guests, for Matt Savage. Thanks, John and Jim, for being here. Thanks to all of the premium members that were in the chat. That was fantastic stuff. Running Aces Casino, Racetrack, and Hotel, website AMP. Love you guys. Thanks for everything. We'll chat next week.